Hello, everyone. Hello. How are you? Long time no see. I would ask you what you're doing, but I figure you're recovering from all that dancing. Hey, Jill. How you doing? Yeah, and of course, I had a whole list of resources, and I cannot find my list. Yeah, Luna, I think you did. I think that was me over there anyway. I need to wait and see how many people are going to show up. The one lady that was supposed to be here had a family emergency, so she said we was going to have to reschedule on her part. Oh, I'm sorry to hear that, Jill. I hope you start feeling better soon. Oh, there's a lot of stuff still going around. I'm not sure who all is going to show up. I know a couple of people was wanting to tell their stories. Okay, I finally found my list of resources. There's the link if anybody wants to come up and chat. Looks like it's going to end up being a really quiet night tonight. Now there's some more coming in. I kind of expected for YouTube not to send out notifications. Hey, Jen. I'll say I just dropped the link if you want to come up here. Yeah, you see, Luna, Jen's going to come over here and she's going to expect to start dancing here too. There's the link if either one of y'all want to come up. You can just chill. I know there's going to be a couple of them that wanted to tell their stories about how they got out of situations, but I'm figuring YouTube isn't doing its job in sending out notifications. So I guess until then, we just kind of chill. We're going to have to save all the dancing for over there at the den because, yeah, I can't figure out all that music playing and stuff. Luna's the talented one for that. You think so, Jen? She's the one that does all the talking? She can just talk for everyone, huh? It's okay to be shy. Ain't nothing wrong with that. Keep yourself out of trouble that way, huh? Doesn't look like she wants to do much talking now. She got wore out a little bit ago. Yeah, she's going to play the shy one now. Well, there we go with the idiot starting to. Hey, Alice. Gonna get rid of the little troll thing that wants to come in here. I wonder how much they get paid to do that. You know, we're all trying to make our way here on YouTube, and literally we could just be trolling other channels and dropping all this random stuff. Get paid for it. I'm trying to get a couple of these links put in, or these phone numbers put in here. And Luna, what are you cooking? You got me curious now. Thank you, Jen. You haven't missed anything yet, Alice. We're just waiting. The one social worker had a family emergency, so I've got to reschedule that one with later. But other than that, like literally nothing. I'm waiting on. I think there was like 3 people that wanted to tell their stories, but YouTube doesn't like to send out notifications. So in the meantime, basically, just whatever you want to say it. Luna, you're supposed to tell me what you're cooking. Well, it looks like she ran away. I don't blame her. That's good. Then maybe they did send some of them out. Yeah, I've been a victim of it too. Lived with it growing up as well. But when I decided that it was time to go, it was just time to go, and there was no looking back. You, Luna, you who? I want to know what you're cooking. You got to give me ideas for supper tomorrow. Yeah, with my experience though, Jen, I've been locked in rooms, I've been locked in basements, I've been beat, I've had broken bones, like you name it, I've had it. Had a gun in my head more than one time. And then he decided that he was gonna like start threatening to off himself and crap if I left. And finally it just got to the point that I was like, okay, and walked away. Nothing ever come of it though. And then growing up, my dad, well, not my real dad, but the dad that was in the home, he always decided that it was a good thing to try to beat around on my mom. He finally learned his lessons though. Like domestic violence, nobody is immune to it. And the sad thing is a lot of times it happens and we don't even realize that it's happening until it gets really bad. Chicken sounds good. You know, FedEx does deliver overnight. You could always, FedEx us some of that chicken. I've had a couple of friends that like I could just sit there and I could see that it was a whole domestic situation, and it wasn't really like they were in denial. They just literally had no idea of everything that it consists of. But once, they learned, they decided to get out, so it turned out okay before they, got too bad. But that's part of the reason why I'm doing this channel, because there's so much to it that people don't even think is really abuse, but it is. Simple act of taking someone's car keys. People are always like, no, that's not abuse. But I know one guy, he continued to take his wife's car keys and she ended up pressing charges on him. And he ended up getting like 3 years in jail for it. And that's all he ever did was just take her car keys. He never hit her or anything. But he lacked like 2 months of getting like 3 years, I think, in total. Because the judge saw it as domestic. They say that it takes on average 7 times before somebody actually leaves and stays away. But I've seen people leave, the first time and never go back. And then I've seen people in relationships for 30 or 40 years and still staying with the abuse, and they've left and they've went back so many times they don't even know. Like they can't keep count. It's crazy how people assume that abuse is okay. It's really not. hopefully one of these days, so the world will wake up and expect better of itself. You can come up here, Luna, and tell your story. Your story is empowering to others. And there may not be very many people in here right now, but 2-3 years down the line, somebody may come across this video and hear your story and be able to relate and be like, okay, I'm getting out. You never know when your story is going to affect someone else. I mean, it's always hard to hear and always hard to talk about. Jen, I have heard a lot of people say that emotional abuse is a lot worse than physical. I mean, it's all bad. And no matter what is done, it's wrong. But I have heard a lot of people say that emotional is a lot worse. And for myself, it was too. Bones heal. Yes, emotional is still abuse. It goes in with everything. Like, domestic violence can cause so many issues. But I think emotional abuse is one thing that it takes a lot longer to recover from. I've been out of my situation for kind of a long time, and especially the situation of watching my dad beat on my mom. I've been out of that, but I still have triggers. Most of the time, I can just shake it off and keep it in the back of my head. But yeah, emotional stuff is horrible. Well, I am so glad that you got out of that situation, Luna. Everybody that has gotten out of that situation, that shows power, that shows strength, it shows courage. Everybody that has gotten out is a good role model for anybody that is struggling. Yeah, I get that, Jen. And then even like with the physical abuse, it can turn into emotional, and the abuser doesn't have to be doing anything to cause the emotional abuse, but like the physical itself, the stress and everything that goes along with that, it makes it turn emotional as well as mental, and it just one thing leads to another. It's all combined, even if it's like not happening. Yeah, but you see, 26 years ago, I mean, you've had a long time out. You've had a lot of time to heal and help others with your story and stuff. But back then, they didn't have like the laws and stuff that we have now that helps us. So you getting out of your situation 26 years ago literally shows how much strength and courage you had. It really does, more so than just like, me leaving a few years ago or whatever. We've somewhat got laws, but even the cops and stuff, they try to get around those laws. And especially if they know the person, they're not going to like prosecute and stuff. But like here, I've got this wrote down, I want to take shit later for having a script. It's kind of a inside joke, but the cycle of abuse. You see, Jen, I've heard that a lot too. But this one girl that I knew, she was young. She was like 16 or 17, and her boyfriend was like 19 at the time. And he would go around and he would beat on his friends and like just be really aggressive with like people in the store and stuff. But the mental impact that it had on her, because she knew it could be her, Like the fact that he never did hit her living with the fear of knowing what he could do, like, well, her outcome didn't turn out very well. By the time she was 20, 22, I think, something like that, she decided to end it all. But it was basically because of the abuse that she had seen. And I literally had like no way of helping her. Like it gets to the point that when they're not being physically abused, a lot of times like the shelters and stuff like that, they won't take people in. Like it has to be physical. You have to have broken bones or some type of stuff for anybody to even pay attention. So I totally get where you're coming from with that one. It's still abuse of other people in front of somebody is still abuse to the person that is witnessing it. And it's like here it says that I have wrote down here. The tension building phase is the first step. In this phase, the batterer gets edgy and tension begins to build up. It could be caused either by external issues, such as things not going the way that they think it should, or internal emotional problems the abuser experiences. This is where the battered person may feel as though they need to walk on eggshells to avoid setting off the abuser. And the second step of it is the explosion phase, where the physical abuse occurs. It can last for a few minutes to several hours. This is the point at which the abuser has lost control of themselves and turns on the victims. And then the final phase is known as the honeymoon phase. This is when the perp will express sorrow, promise to never do it again, or act like nothing happened. Many abusers will attempt to make up by buying gifts or doing small favors as proof that they have or will change. However, the tension almost always starts to build up again, and then the cycle continues. And it's between the second and the third phase where everybody wants to walk away, but then it takes like 7 times to actually leave because of that dang honeymoon phase. I think that eggshells is a big part of it for everybody because the eggshells they seem to never go away. And then when we get into weapons into the domestic situation too, I've got this one I didn't do a video on yet, but the presence of a gun, or wait, hold on, eggshells trying to, yeah, you see, that's the thing, Jen, it never works. That's a sad point. I mean, it's like you're walking on eggshells trying to make everything work or to work out, and then in their eyes you're only making it worse because you're not doing this or you're not doing that, and those eggshells literally never go away. Like that's one thing that lingers on and on and on. Some people, no matter what we do, we just can't make happy. They have to find happiness within themselves before other people can attempt to make them happy. And if their happiness is beating up on other people, then they really seriously need some help. But this I have here, I was going to do a video about, but I just decided to do it today. The presence of a gun in the home increases the risk of homicide for women by 500%. And for men, I think I've seen it at like 120%. Firearms are not the only type of weapons that are used to threaten, intimidate, or harm people in an abusive relationship. Partners who choose to abuse are willing to use whatever they feel is necessary to maintain power in their relationship. oftentimes using physical violence or threats of violence. This can be anything from throwing a book or a plate to throwing a knife while cooking. Many abusers use their surroundings to cause harm, such as pushing their partners against a table or down the stairs. Violence in abusive relationships can look like many things, and it's important to be prepared for those moments. Keep in mind that all suggestions are simply just suggestions, so do what works best for you and what is the safest for you. A study on the use of weapons in intimate partner relationships found that there are a variety of items that partners who cause harm use to threaten or hurt their partner. Hands and fists were most used to do violence, followed by shoving the partner into a wall or table. The study also showed that household objects such as pans, ashtrays, plates, amongst other things, were used in over half of the violent episodes, and vehicles were used at 40% of the time. Knowing that everyday items can be used to harm or intimidate us helps us to prepare for our safety. 22% said partner threatened to use their firearm to hurt themselves, their partner, children, family members, friends, or even a pet. 67% believe that their partner is capable of killing them. 52% said that they would feel safer if law enforcement took their partners or spouses or exes' firearms. 34% said that they were aware that the court may be able to order their partner to surrender their firearm and ammunition. Out of those that said their partner had threatened them with a firearm, 75% said that their partner made verbal threats to use the gun. 24% said that their partner waved it around. 25% said their partner pointed it at them or others. 30% said their partner left the gun out to create a feeling of fear. And 54% said that their partner had threatened suicide with the gun. Oh, yeah. Most of them are narcissists, Jen. Like, that, the whole abuse thing is what feeds their narcissism. And then it goes on, regardless of you or your partner's gender identity or expression or sexual orientation, you deserve to prioritize your safety plan to keep yourself safe as possible. General safety planning tips for any abusive relationship include keeping a charged cell phone on silent so that you can call for help. If it is safe, tell a trusted friend about the abuse you are experiencing, so if a crisis occurs, you can turn to them for support. You can leave a laundry basket around with a couple sets of clothes that appears to be dirty so that you can grab it and go, or leave an overnight bag in your car or at a trusted friend's home to be waiting for you if and when you leave. There are many factors that can affect your safety plan. If you live with your partner, your plan will look very different from someone who does not. The area you live in, rural or urban, etc., can alter your safety plans as well. The unique situation you are in can affect what your plan looks like and how you choose to play it out. One of the most challenging parts of non-firearm weapons is that they can be more easily accessible. If everyday items such as plates, books, or tables can be used, it is important to be aware of your surroundings. This could mean knowing the locations of smaller items in the room or noticing the placement of tables so that you can stay clear of that area. Another example is to be aware of the drawers that have sharp objects such as knives, scissors, and ice picks so that you can act if your partner moves towards them. One idea could be moving to a safe room, which is a room that you have previously moved things around, locked drawers and cabinets, have soft carpet in, and mounted objects like a TV that would be harder to access to use as a weapon. Leave curtains open in this room so people could look in and see the attack. If it is in an apartment, the room could share a wall with a neighbor. An important part of safety planning is knowing the best ways to remove yourself from a situation. Are you in a room on the second floor? What is your escape options? Does a room have a second door? Is the single door blocked? Being aware of different ways to leave a room can be helpful if your partner begins throwing things or charging at you with a weapon. Is there children around? Is staying out of the room they are in an option? Can you easily get to them to get everyone out together? Do the kids have an escape route if you say a code word? Do you have a spare set of keys? Can you park where you can get away easily? Is the neighborhood safe enough to leave the back door unlocked for an easy escape? Your safety plan can consist of many options, and honestly, the more, the better. And in the instance that you have to, you can protect your body. If your partner grabs a makeshift weapon and you can't get away, get into a corner and sit with your back against the wall, knees pulled up, tuck your head down, and cover your neck and head with your arms. This will protect your vital organs from kicks and punches or an attempt to use a weapon against you. You can also hide behind large furniture or things they value. If they value it, they may not risk breaking it. But the counter to this is if they like it and it gets broke, they may blame you for that. It really is sad, Jen. Like, all the stuff that I have come across, like, some of it I don't even put on YouTube. Like, I've sent some stuff to people when they've just emailed me because I would probably get the video flagged if I even mentioned half of the stuff that I come across. Like, domestic violence is a serious issue. And the sad thing is nobody really even takes it serious these days because it's just kind of normalized. So how did you end up getting out of your situation, Jen? Alice, you too. Saying how you can get out of a situation can actually help other people because you could have done something that they would have never thought of. Oh, yeah, it has to be, Jen. People being cooped up together. I seen one study that it said that domestic violence and sexual abuse has increased by almost 800% worldwide over the pandemic from everybody being cooped up. That men was just expecting their partners to give it out 3 and 4 times a day, and then of course being aggressive when they didn't get it or didn't have a meal cooked on time and shit. Like, that study was like very, very in depth. I don't even think I saved that study. I really wish I would have. And then there was a study done in a lot of the really religious countries, and those statistics, I mean, oh my god, they were so off the chart. But I mean, most of it, like, in some of the really religious countries and stuff across the world, like, domestic violence and sexual abuse is literally just expected. I mean, I'm not like bashing any religion or anything or the cultures, but I mean, it's just a bunch of studies have been done, and they have found it to be like a real serious issue. I left after I had some friends. He was getting out of jail because he was trying to con his way out. They sent money to me, and I went out of state to a very dear person. See, that's another thing. Like, a problem that a lot of the victims have is they don't have someone. Like, I think I had done a video about it. Like, I'm so confused on the videos that I have already done because there is so much to this, plus emails to people, different things. But a lot of people get tired of seeing somebody hurt, and they keep telling them, to leave or whatever. And that person, I guess they're within the 7 steps, and they haven't got to that point to leave, and then people walk away. And then when they are ready to leave, there's literally like no one there to help them. And then when they do contact somebody, they're like, well, I'm not wasting my time on this because you're just going to go back. But that could be the one time that they actually broke free. The order doesn't matter. Like, seriously. The important thing is just that you got out. Like, and your story, as well as everybody else's story, like I said, it may just be the tiniest detail, but somebody's going to come along at some point and see that detail and then be like, oh, wow, this clicks, and then they decide to leave. It's very easy to get that way with people, Jen. It really is. I mean, that's just part about being human. You see something over and over and over, and I mean, you try to make a difference, but it keeps turning out the same way. That's exactly what insanity is. But there will come a time. There will come a time that it's actually the right time. You see, 13 years. I can guarantee you that was more than 7 times of trying to leave. Going back is just literally part of it. Unfortunately, it's one of the sad parts of it. I've only come across a couple of people that literally just said the first time, I'm done, I'm not going back, packed up, moved out, slashed a couple of tires in the process, but we won't get into that. And then they just never went back. But that's only just a couple of people. And I have literally been around hundreds of people. And going back is just a thing. It really is. But I mean, as long as we come out on the other end alive and well, even if we do have our emotional damage or even our physical damage, that we come out on the other end good, then every time we went back, it was a lesson that we learned. Whether we know we learned that lesson or not, that lesson was learned. Yeah, and when addiction comes into play, it makes it a whole other issue. Yep. And I mean, it's not even, well, I say that like it's lightly, and it's not lightly at all, but even if the child is not physically abused, they still see so much and they are totally damaged. Hey, Mars. Totally better late than never. Thank you for being here. We're just kind of chatting and talking about anything and everything to do with domestic violence, or basically violence in general. I'm not going to keep it just specifically to domestic violence, but that is kind of the at the moment topic. But it is very hard for children. It really is. And especially when once they get old enough to know that one of their parents is being hurt, and then to get the understanding that the other parent is causing that hurt. Like, there is so much emotional trauma involved with that. Mars, do you have any getting free stories from domestic violence or anything that you want to share? I can drop a link if you want to come up and talk about it. I mean, honestly, I hope you do not have a story to share, because that would be so amazing if you don't. But if you do, I'm giving you a place to tell your story. That's good, Mars. And hearing it can be very traumatizing to children as well. Because, I mean, I know when I was growing up that I would hear the stuff from another room, and I knew it wasn't right. I mean, I was little, like 4 or 5 years old, and I knew that it wasn't right, but I didn't even know, if I could possibly even do anything about it. And that's what the worst part of growing up with it was for me. That's honestly a good thing, Mars. I mean, I don't wish death upon anybody, but seriously, if that's where they ended up after years of abuse and stuff, then they totally, totally deserve it. That is so sorry, so sad, Mars. I'm so sorry that you had to go through that. If you don't mind me asking, what was the point that you decided that you was just done with it? Yeah, I totally agree with you on that, Mars. Karma will get them one way or another. Everyone here is a survivor. And that is something that we all need to own. We've had hell, but we made it out. We are survivors, and we got to own that shit with pride. People put us in these situations, but we can overcome it and help other people. Yeah, that's a big step, Mars. They drill it into our heads that we need them. And then I really hate that sentence, you'll never find anybody else like me. Like, fool, I don't want to find anybody else like you. Like, I don't know what you got going on in your head, but you're wishing me a better life here by saying that. A lot of people are like that, Mars. I've had email after email. And I mean, this channel is here, and it is based for domestic violence, racism, bullies, social justice, women's rights, everything. But nobody actually seems to like really comment and have discussions like in the comment section. I get flooded with emails, and then they'll say something in an email, and then they'll ask me if I can make a video about it. And being able to have a conversation, it helps more people than we think. There's so many people out there that's reaching out for help. I know, right, Mars? Like that's one sentence that always got to me. I would hear my dad say that to my mom all the time. You can't leave me. You'll never find anybody like me. And yeah, I mean, he paid the bills and stuff, but all the stuff that she went through, it wasn't worth him paying the bills for. Like she had her job. She was perfectly fine, and then as the kids got older, everybody started getting jobs and pitching in. But that's what stopped him, was when he realized that he wasn't needed. I mean, they're still together, but there's no more abuse. He finally realized that, what, my wife and my kids don't need me, so I better change something if I want to keep them. And that's fine, Mars. This live is not to pressure anybody to come up and tell their stories. It's really not. If somebody wants to come up and tell them, then I will open it up, full force, and let it be told. But this is basically just so people can realize, they're not alone. Yeah, he finally stopped. I mean, years and years of it, but yeah, I mean, he still gets an attitude every now and then and stuff, and people kind of scatter because they know the past. But yeah, as far as like actually stopping the violence and stuff, he stopped once he realized that the kids was older and that we could take care of our mom and stuff. He just, I don't know, he kind of like phased out of it. Have now knows better. He used to use psychological warfare on me. Come at me, make me flinch. I left the house one night and refused to come back till the next day, and he's not done it since. That's good. I'm really glad that you put your foot down right then and there. Because I mean, a lot of people, from some of the emails and stuff that I have got, they're not really like, the partner wasn't abusive. And then just one day, they try to push that line, and then that person allowed them to do it. And then it totally got worse. This one lady, she was like 60 something years old, like 67, like up there. And she had lived with her husband. They were married when they were like 17 and 18. And for like the first 10 years, there was no abuse or anything. Well, then he started getting kind of pushy, and he started demanding his food be done at a certain hour, and it had to be hot when he got home. But you see, then where this lady is coming from. Like, you have this long relationship or whatever, and then you get that one day, you can just literally tell that something has changed. He started demanding his food be at a certain hour. He started demanding that lights be turned off at like 8 p.m. Everything had to be quiet. Then later on, he wanted her up at like 5 a.m. to have breakfast hot at 5:30 when he woke up to get ready for work. And it just kind of started leading up. And then she's like, that went on for about 5 years. And then one day he hit her. Well, she was spicy and she decided to hit back. And now he does the laundry and he does the cooking. And she like really set him straight. So a lot of it is just the fact that they get away with it. And I mean, I'm not saying that it's on us to, stop them. It's their choice. It's totally their choice to be abusive or not. But some people just don't want to stop it. They don't know how to stop it. It's like, it's what works. I am one. I really hate labels. Like, honest to God, I will even tear the label off of my freaking mattress. Like, I hate labels. So you just live life and live it as you are. And, as long as there ain't no violence and stuff like that, like, whatever any partner wants to be, there's no need for labels and stuff. A lot of things work better when there is no labels to it. See, that's me. Like, I ended up fighting back too. I realized I was gonna probably end up in jail. So I left my situation. But I mean, I had been literally poisoned. Um like, it was horrible. It really was. And after I got out of the hospital after I was poisoned, I was just like, nope, this has to end now. And it's going to end one way or the other. And I just chose freedom because I was literally to the point that I was going to go to jail. And I am not an abusive person at all. Like, I will literally run from any type of violence. But I will stand up for other people. Like, if I see something happening out in public and stuff, then yeah, I'm going to interfere. But personal, like, violence and stuff, like, I just run from it. Yeah, they always beg. They always beg. Once they realize what they've actually lost, begging is a big part of it. And that's also what leads into the lingering emotional trauma after somebody has gotten away. I'm sorry that happened to you, Mars. Moving on is hard. It's always easier if you have somebody that's on the outside of that relationship that can, just continually encourage you to move on and move forward. And, I really hate the word victim. I mean, I do use it. Some of the stuff that I write out, like, I'll say a victim or whatever. But I really hate that word because even a person that is being victimized is a survivor. Even if they haven't got out yet, even if they don't know that they have survived the situation, they are a survivor because they continually fight for their life. Parents know. Parents do know. There's just no way to get it past it. Well, I say that. There are some parents out there that just doesn't give a shit. But parents that actually care and notice, they see it. I'm very glad that you had a shelter that would help you. I feel you, Jen. I really do. Like, I can be petty as fuck, literally. I really can be. I try not to be, obviously, but like, if somebody's coming at me with something, like, I'm literally going to win the situation one way or another. But you see, that's part of what my abuse taught me. It taught me how to survive, how to come out on top. And then when I go to help somebody, I take what I have had and I put my all into helping them. It really does, Mars. It really does. There's a lot of things that are so hard to talk about. And a lot of things that's really hard to even hear, but everybody's story can help somebody. Drastic, dramatic, it's all the same, Jen. Yeah, see, that was the whole point of this live, is literally just, if you want to talk about it, talk about it. It's a safe place. It really, I mean, obviously as safe as it can be online, but there's never going to be any victim shaming or bashing or anything like that in here. It's good that he got the wrong wires, though. I mean, I bet he probably got really mad that the cable wasn't working for a while, though. See, and a lot of them that I have noticed as well, like, he cut the cable wires, but the victims usually get blamed. Like, you made me do this. I'm like, no, fool, I didn't make you do a damn thing. You chose to do it. Did the state police actually like help you? Because I know that there's a lot of police departments, and some of them just, I don't know. Like I said before, it's just normalized now. They don't really want to do their jobs and stuff. But I'm wondering if the state police is different than just like the local sheriff's office or something. Well, you know what? Your upstairs neighbor has probably done something that they deserve to have the cable off for a while. Don't know what they did, but they probably done something. Well, I'm glad that they got him out of there for you. Oh, yeah, that helps. Around here, though, the farther you are away from the police station, you actually get help faster because they like all huddle up together at the corners of town. And so anybody that's like right there near the police station, it takes like an hour to get there. That's good. That kind of gave you and the neighbor some common ground. And then the whole cultural, and I don't know, that's like a whole topic onto itself. Like, I guess on the outside looking in, I don't really understand how different cultures can just kind of promote the violence, or accept it as part of a way of life. And then like having to pay for your bride and stuff like that, so that, and then parents that sell them, like, oh my god, I've had a couple of emails about that too. Like, this one lady was in a really bad situation. I ended up actually getting her into a shelter though. But her parents were immigrants, and even though they were over here in the States, they still had their customs, and they basically sold their daughter off to this guy. And he was like so abusive, and whenever she would go back home to try to get away from it, her parents would, they had the obligation of calling her husband to tell him that she was there and ready to be picked up. And this poor woman, she'd had miscarriages and everything from the abuse. And I'm not going to say which state she was in, but I'm very proud of that state because not only did they throw her husband in jail, they also got her father for being the one to sell her. And they tried to do the whole cultural thing in court, and it it didn't work. The state actually won the case. I think her and her mom ended up going back over to the country that they had come from. Yeah, me neither, Mars. Like, I have one kid that was in a really bad situation, and her husband is now in jail, and she's looking for a divorce and stuff. But like, I cannot even think about not being there for her. Like, that would just be, I don't know, like the worst thing ever. And I mean, a lot of kids, they don't want their parents to get involved. And I've kind of come up against that too. But I'm like, I'm very insistent, and even if I don't just tell her every day, hey, I am here, like, she knows it. So yeah, I can't even imagine being a parent like some of those. Exactly, Mars. And the husband and the father both went to jail. I don't know. I mean, she hasn't emailed me back. She said that her and her mom and I guess siblings or whatever was going back to the other country, but I don't know what sentences they got or anything like that. But I do know that they were arrested and going through court. And yes, it's very out of control. As society, we just need to do better. We need to stop normalizing things like this. I'm so glad she got away. It does take a lot though to leave. It really does. And I've noticed with some of the emails and stuff that I have gotten, if a child was raised in it, it makes it a lot harder for them to leave. It really does. And I mean, it's not like the person that is being abused, when there's kids involved, they want to stay because they think it's going to be best interest for their kids, or they don't want to go through court to fight for custody and stuff like that. Okay, Jen, stay safe. But yeah, like, everybody that has emailed me, I've always asked them if they grew up in a home of domestic violence. And the majority of them that have said yes, some of them declined to answer, but the ones that have said yes are the ones that are having the most trouble leaving. Yeah, we always see the good in somebody. We always do. And a lot of that is they have literally beat it into us to see the good in them. And sometimes we imagine the good. Sometimes the good is just not there. But we think we see the good. That's another big thing with reasons to stay. And one thing that really bugs me is there's always so many reasons to stay, but there's never really any reason to leave. Even though, they've literally got the reason staring in front of them. But they continue to see the good even if the good isn't there. And then when somebody does come along for another relationship and they're good and they don't raise their voice, or, they don't raise their hands or throw things or, cuss someone out or whatever, then that person gets to live in the shoes of the one that did all the violence to them in the past. Damn. But yeah, and especially, once you lived it, you can literally see it everywhere. And that's also part of where the lingering emotional trauma fits in, because you can't really go a day without seeing it somewhere. You see the little cues on a movie or something, and, or from a coworker or whatever. And that's like literally re traumatizing people. Yeah, hopefully. I think every young girl kind of goes through that bad boy stage. But there's a big difference in the bad boy stage and the really bad boy. I know a lot of guys that have the bad boy look going on to them, but they're like the sweetest things ever. They're really somebody that you would not want your daughter to bring home just by looking at them. But they actually hold down jobs, and they're not abusive, and they're not drunks, and they're not druggies. And then after you get to know them, you're like, oh, well, okay. You might want to cut your hair or something, but yeah, it's all about individual strength, and also the strength that we can loan to those people, because it takes a lot of strength, a lot of courage. It really does. And it's not just from the self, but it's from community. We can stand on our front porch and look at all of our neighbors. We don't know what goes on behind closed doors, but if they're out at the mailbox and we talk to them or something, that literally might be the highlight of their day. Just the fact that they have somebody there that, they don't have to look over their shoulder for that, 2-minute conversation or whatever. Yeah, I totally feel you there, Mars. I really do. I'm just saying though, there is the bad boy and then there's the really bad boy. And a lot of people do get, they have tattoos or piercings, or, kind of dress, I guess, bummy or whatever, but they're they're solid, they're solid people. And then you get these people that dress up in a tuxedo every day to go to work, and then they come home and beat their wives or their husbands. Domestic abuse doesn't discriminate against genders or anything. I don't know. Some people are like that. They really are. And I mean, in a way, I can kind of understand it, because somebody goes to jail over, let's say a DUI or something. They have like a felony charge. It doesn't really make them a bad person. They just messed up a little bit. But I mean, obviously, if somebody's been in jail for domestic situations, or, on a registry somewhere or something, and then you still want to date them, then I mean, that's literally just asking for trouble. Still not the victim or the survivor's fault, but at the same time, I mean, it's just, what do you expect? What do you expect the outcome to be? Because 90% of them don't change. And even if they do change, the family is still on edge, because you never know if they're going to do it again. You know, that is one thing about police officers. They do a lot of stuff like that, and not all of them. Like, there are many good ones out there, and they will try to help their community, and some of them will even turn in the other officers if they know what's going on. But a lot of them, once they get that badge, it's just like they think the law doesn't apply to them. That's also well, I say normal, not really normal, but it is kind of one of the normal outcomes to police officers that do stuff like that. Same with firefighters and lawyers and judges and anything like that that's like community based. They do their stuff once they get the name for themselves, and then they end up offing themselves. It's really sad. It really is, because some of these people could be helped, and they just don't want to get the help. Yeah, you see, he's one of the good ones. He We really need to hold our police officers and any emergency first responders and stuff like that. We need to hold them to higher standards. We need to expect them to do better. It's like, I was talking to a couple of the cops that work around here, and I asked them if they had any special training for like domestic violence situations, and one of them looked at me and they literally asked me if that was literally a thing. And I'm like, yeah, you go through special classes for it. And the cops around here, they don't even know that classes like that exist. Yeah, I've been thinking about trying to go to one of the city council meetings and try to have them do some kind of well, like an awareness thing for the city each month. Just like pick a topic and hold a time and day for some awareness. It could be about anything literally, but a lot of towns need stuff like that. Yeah, they are, but I mean, the training only goes so far if the cop or anybody in that kind of line of work, they can attend the classes and just brush it off and you know not even act like they had the class. um, I don't know, I'm figuring like New York and some of the bigger cities, I can only imagine what those cops get away with. No, it's really not. But a lot of times, if like a city council can hold meetings on like domestic violence or kidnapping or anything like that, even though it's not going to affect some people, it might actually affect someone, and one person can make a huge change. Yeah, I would be scared too. I hope everything turns out okay. I really do. There's just so many weirdos out there. And it's always the people that we least expect. I don't know. If there's anything that I can do to help her, let me know. Because, I mean, I have access to tons of resources and links. I mean, she'd have to be willing to reach out for it, but you know, my I'll drop my email here. If anybody has any questions or wants me to do a video on a certain topic or anything, or needs resources or anything for wherever they are, I'm more than happy to help look up that stuff. Yeah, I think this next week, probably like on this Sunday maybe, I'm gonna do another live. I'm kind of working on figuring out what topic I want it to be about, because I'm going to drop some videos about the topic and then hold the live on it, kind of like I've done the past couple of weeks with the domestic violence. But I'm going to do like a topic a week and then hold a live. My work schedule, it's always up in the air. My coworkers don't like to do their job, so I get called in a lot to do that for them. But I'm pretty sure I'm off on Sunday, and if I do, I'm going to do another live. But I got to figure out the topic for this week. Any suggestions? I've actually done that a lot myself, Morris, so it's okay. But I don't know if you was just out of chat or if you had heard me. But yeah, any ideas on a topic for the next live? I mean, I can cover anything. Obviously, it's my channel. I can do what I want. But mostly it's like racism, social justice, women's rights, bullies, like just anything to bring awareness to things that people kind of like to just sweep under the rug and not want to talk about. You see, that's my thoughts exactly. There's so many topics to choose from. And like, especially with me being a counselor for the Trevor Project, I come across topics like all day long that I could literally deep dive. Well, I don't technically deep dive because I try to keep my videos short in case somebody, is not in a place where they can actually like listen for long periods of time, but they still need the info. So I do a lot of videos about one topic, keeping them short. You are more than welcome to tell your story at any point in time. I mean, you can literally just email me and be like, okay, so tonight I want to tell my story. I will totally pull up a live whenever you were ready, whenever you were comfortable. Okay, then bullies it will be. I have done a few videos about bullies. I had a really short live because it literally stopped recording like right when I was about to end it anyway. A mother was telling the story about her disabled child being bullied by a teacher nonetheless. There's some other videos already about bullying, but I will totally put together videos for the rest of this week and then hold a live on Sunday. You don't have to be chicken around here. Seriously, I will open up any live for any topic. That's why I'm here. I don't do the whole drama thing. And I mean, obviously, yes, I want more subscribers and stuff, but that's because the more I get, the more people know about things that's going on. It's not really like a whole click and views thing with me. But totally, I will give anybody a place to voice their stories, because you never know what story will help somebody. Then yeah, it totally sounds to me like you do need to tell that story. I'm sure it will help others, and even if nobody goes through that exact situation, your story could be very beneficial to them, because then they could take what they learned from your story and apply it to whatever it is that they are going through. And like over here, my channel is not about really being on camera and stuff. There's avatars. That's why I literally just put something in front of the camera and then talk, because it's not about me. It's not about the person. I'm not here for intros and all kinds of stuff like that. I mean, I love it, don't get me wrong, but I would rather just get the info out there in as safest way as possible, because I never know who's listening and what position they are in while they're trying to listen. Yeah, that's like me. Like, I have friends in so many different chats and stuff, and like literally one chat can totally be against the whole other chat. And if I have friends in both of those chats, I will like mod them without a problem. Like, I don't care. I don't get into the drama. This channel is not about drama. It's literally about escaping drama from life. I mean, the way I see it, I can care about everybody and not have to get into what they're mixed up with. Yeah, Mars, you've got my email. I cannot promise that I will respond, just immediately. My signal does kind of go in and out, and I never know it's gone until it comes back on, and I get like 30 messages. But if you message me, uh, I will totally set up a live just whenever you are ready to tell your story. It does not matter what time. I'm usually up really late at night. I sleep more early mornings. So whenever it doesn't matter. It's totally up to you. You can just email me. We'll set up a date and get it told. Yeah, the kids bullying kids is one thing, but I've noticed a lot like the teachers and stuff like that bullying. Like, for instance, my oldest daughter, her son was being bullied, and somebody heard in the school when she went to go pick him up something like, well, if they hit you first, then you can hit them back. And she literally got called to the principal's office for promoting violence. But she had turned it over many times that her son was being bullied and nobody would do anything about it. So finally she just told her son, he's like 6, 7, something like that. If they hit you, you hit them back. Like, we're just not going to deal with this anymore. And my daughter literally got called to the principal's office for promoting bullies or whatever, when all she was trying to do is protect her son and have her son stand up for himself, because obviously the adults that was supposed to help him wouldn't. And this other kid, the one that I did the live about, it was a teacher that was being the bully. But after the state representative, after the Chickasaw governor, um, there was like a ton of people that was called in on this. And once the school realized that so many people were behind this kid, they let it go. They stopped. But it took a lot to get it to stop. They think they have their teaching degree and they can just do whatever they want. So, yeah, totally. For the rest of this week, I will start putting stuff together for bullies. Any specific thing that you want me to cover in relation to bullies? Like how to stop them, who to report them to, um, anything specifically related to bullies? Okay. See, that's what happened to my grandson too. This was literally his first year in a public school. He had been homeschooled. So, yeah, I will make sure that that is the first video that goes up, um like adjusting after homeschool into a public school, and then I will just see where it leads me from there. Because usually one subtopic to a topic leads me to 1,000 other subtopics. I am very glad that you reported that. If the bullying does not stop, I am more than willing to open up the panel for that school to be called out. Like I really don't care if I piss people off, because well, somebody has to do it. But I can also help you pull in other people, um governors, senators, anybody, just letting them know that what that school does. Usually, in my experience, once a school or an office or whatever the situation is that's happening in a certain location, once they realize that it has gotten bigger and more people know, they actually stop. And yeah, there's always going to be that low key stuff going on, but the majority of it does actually stop once they realize that it's going bigger. There is so many kids that do. They really do. They just can't handle it. And then some of them don't have parents or grandparents or anything like that that will stand up for them. They think they have to go at it alone. And that's where the domestic violence comes into play too. A lot of it. When kids are being bullied at school, it's sometimes, not always, but sometimes related to them seeing the violence at home. And then the kids that they bullied, if they see the violence at home, it turns them the other way to where they think it's okay and they just shut down until they just can't anymore. I'm really glad that you got that situated, but seriously, I have no problem whatsoever calling out anybody. And I mean, it's not just me like hiding behind a computer while I'm calling them out. Like I will literally like go protest on their front lawn. Like I don't have an issue with stuff like that. Damn, see, that's wrong. It's like the video that I had done. Um, I did a couple of videos, and then I did a short live with the mother, and it wasn't even the child's teacher. From my understanding of it, it wasn't the child's exact teacher for that class. It was Chickasaw class, and they had learned like 3 words in like 2 months of school or so, and they were trying to tell her that it was a fast-paced class and that she wouldn't be able to keep up with it. Well, they were telling this to the kid, and then so her mom calls up there and like, oh, well, the class is overcrowded and we're trying to move kids. And they had like all these random excuses. So the Chickasaw governor was called, and they got on board, and they're like, nobody has the right to kick a child out of the classes that basically the Chickasaws fund. And once the school realized that the Chickasaw governor was behind it, um, including the Oklahoma governor and a couple of representatives and a couple of people that was running for the position, they had also been told what was going on. And once the school realized that it was bigger than, just this one kid, that she actually had a large community behind her, the child is still in that class. So she totally won. And I mean, she may not be just making straight A's, but she's doing her best. And that's literally all anybody can ask for. And I haven't heard any more about any more of the bullying going on, so I'm assuming that it has ended. If I find out later that it hasn't ended, then I will be doing a live from that school. Exactly. And Mars, the funny part of it is they wanted, well, I say funny, not like haha funny, but they wanted to put her in Spanish class. They had learned like 3 words in like 2 months. And that was supposed to be like fast paced, and they wanted to move her over to Spanish class. Now, I speak Spanish. Spanish is not a slow language. We speak it so fast, we sound like we cussing each other out when we just talking about going to the store and getting a beer. And their thing was, we want to move her to Spanish. Exactly. They didn't want to give her a chance. There's so much low key bullying and stuff going on nowadays that people don't even realize half the time that they're getting bullied. It's just like the domestic violence thing. A lot of people, it's just so normalized now that people don't even realize that they're living with the abuse. Yeah, she's still in it. I went and got her some little flashcards and stuff that would help her learn more than what the school was teaching. And the Chickasaw community here, they really backed her, so they do. Like, I don't know, like, one language is hard enough to learn. You start throwing in all these other ones. And I mean, I admit it, learning different languages and stuff, it's amazing because then it opens you up to new traditions and cultures and everything else. But I don't think anybody has the right to tell anyone that they don't have the opportunity to learn it, especially when they want to. Being forced into a language class is a different topic, but she really wanted that class, and they put her in it. I mean, they didn't, at the year before when she had signed up for it, they didn't tell her then that she couldn't, do it properly or whatever. They waited until they were already into it. Some kids are just mean. And unfortunately, I mean, there's really nothing that we can do about the mean kids. As much, no matter how much we talk about it or how much we pressure people to stop a situation, it ends up boiling down to ourselves getting us out of it, and then our support system. Yeah, our support system is the main thing when it comes to any type of abuse. But I think I'm about to close down. This is roughly going on about 2 hours. But totally, Mars, email me and we can discuss this whole bully thing, and maybe I can, you know, link you up with something that would help that little one see that the friend is, is not doing right. And I will get to work on a video about transitioning from homeschool to public school and dealing with bullies. And then on Sunday, I'll set a video beforehand, but I have to look at my work schedule. And then I'll probably just do open chats where tell stories, something going on in life, being a voice for others. That's good. Set those boundaries. That's one of the main things. Set the boundaries and keep to them. Oh no, you're good. I mean, I could literally do this all night, but I gotta add some water to a couple of the fish tanks, and I've got a couple of things that I gotta get done for the night. But Sunday for sure, I will do a live. Um, I will get back to you on that email here in just a little bit. That way, we have that communication started. And if anybody else, there's like 2 people in here now. But if anybody else needs any links for any domestic violence resources, shelters, chat lines, websites, local food banks to your area, like anything like that, I can help you find that. So I will drop my email one more time right here. Anybody that reaches out, I am more than happy to help with whatever it is that you have going on. Like, it's not a problem at all. I know I've had a couple of people reach out to me saying that they've wanted to reach out to me for a couple of months and just hadn't done it. I'm like, don't wait. Like, it's literally not a problem for me. Well, I'm actually trying to pull up over here on YouTube. I'm trying to pull up this so I can actually mod you for this channel. Um, if you don't want to mod, that's I totally understand, but I don't have very many mods here because of the simple fact that I never really do any lives at all. I mean, it's kind of just a new thing that is starting, and I'll have to get Jen later. But there, you should be a mod now. And yeah, please share this channel. I mean, honestly, I will be the first one to admit my channel is very boring, but I intend to keep it that way. It's it's about the awareness. It's not about, anything else. So you could just tell them, it's very boring, but if you need it, it's there. Because that's the whole goal for this channel. I may at some point start another channel, just to have like daily chats or whatever, but this channel is specific about awareness of stuff. So I'll say it did mod you, right? I can't see if you have your little wrench. Okay, that's good. And then yeah, maybe on the next live, I'll remember why we have other people in here. I get to things at my own time, I guess. Yeah, I gotta go and check out some of your stuff that you have going on over there too. I've just been really, really busy with some of the stuff from the holidays and And like I said, my coworkers don't ever want to do their jobs. I have to do it for them. So I get called in on my days off and everything else. Thank you for that. Because, I mean, I've had a lot of people tell me that my channel is just too boring to keep up with. I'm like, no, obviously, if it's that boring, it's easy to keep up with. But I see what you're saying. I'm not into the intros and outros and, stuff like that. Like, I don't want to bring, like, if somebody's listening to something and they really need the information, I don't want it to bring attention to those around them that would make them question what they're, getting information on, like, a spouse or something. So it has its whole purpose. I will totally go look at your channel here in a little bit after I get this water added to these fish. They're starting to yell at me here in the background. But yeah, I will respond to your email here in just a few minutes. That way we have that open for communication. And I will definitely see you between now and Sunday, but for sure on Sunday. And I hope everybody has a great night. Talk to y'all soon.